It is not that hard to be a decent fucking mom.
Extremely witty British comedy The Duchess has been on Netflix for quite a time already. The plot follows a stylish and sarcastic single mother named Catherine. Actress Katherine Ryan, who plays the lead role on the show, thinks that a lot of people might find her character, quote, very unlikable, and the series star actually enjoys this fact. Her character refuses to meet the expectations and responsibilities imposed by society and prefers to do things in her own way. Ryan, who is a Canadian stand-up comedian, created the show herself, and it is actually half autobiographical, showing some personal issues the series star had to deal with. However, if you dig deeper into the life of the actress, you will find so much more that will leave you speechless. This powerful 37-year-old woman has been through 2 bouts of cancer, she took her newborn baby on stage. Be sure we'll explain the whole thing in a few minutes. She advocated for being single her whole life and then reunited with her high school love after 20 years. We will explain what happened next, too. So, you just stay with us to learn a true Hollywood-like story of the Duchess star, Katherine Ryan. But before we continue, subscribe to Rumor Juice YouTube channel for more exciting celebrity stories.
I think he's with me because he fears for what I might say about him on TV, and that is as good a reason as any. I love it. It feels powerful.
When Ryan was a teenager, her parents separated. At the age of 18, she decided to leave home and study at the University of Toronto. To make a living, she also worked at a restaurant chain, Hooters, which turned out to be quite a challenging period in her life. It's not perhaps aspirational as a feminist to get a job where you are a decoration, but there are many bars where the waitresses wear little skimpy outfits, and with Hooters I always felt it was satirical. She would eventually be fired for kind of a weird reason. At one point, she had been working for Hooters long enough that she was training other waitresses, but when she wrote club sandwiches, not seals, on the lunch board, the management decided it was time for her to leave. If you didn't get it, it's probably because you are not a Canadian. The thing is that seal clubbing was a sensitive political issue in Canada at the time, and one of the patrons, a fisherman, didn't like the special of the day and complained to the manager. It was during the time of her work in Hooters, though, when one of Ryan's colleagues noticed a mole on her leg that she described as funny. I was like, nah, it's fine. I just didn't think twice about it. In retrospect, it didn't even look that strange, just a bit discolored, but I think your body has a way of warning you when things aren't right. So, she didn't pay much attention to the mole, but went to a dermatologist with a rash on her chest, which for the 21-year-old was a cosmetic issue. After receiving some ointment for the rash and almost leaving the doctor's office, she decided to show him that very mole, which the dermatologist did not find funny at all. The 21-year-old was surprised when a biopsy revealed stage 2 melanoma. However, she was not scared at the time. Probably it was due to her young age that made her feel invincible. Then she rang to tell her parents, and her dad started crying. That's when she realized how serious the issue was. He lost his father to cancer, and there was stage 4 melanoma, which is tough to beat on my mom's side of the family. That kind of brought things home to me. Ryan now has a sizable scar on her thigh where a chunk of flesh was removed. According to Ryan, it is a reminder of good fortune that she didn't even have to undergo chemo, just the surgery.
So basically like a golf ball size of my leg was taken out in a proper surgery.
Still, it did recur and again was easily dealt with. Oftentimes, the comedian is frowned upon when she jokes about her experience with cancer. Ryan believes that laughing in the face of the most feared disease is an affirmative action. I joke about it now and then because that's what I do. That's how I make loads of things better. I like to find light in the dark. Already in her mid-20s, she started working actively as a comedian, as well as appearing in numerous television series in the UK where she moved. Also, around that time, she gave birth to her daughter Violet from her previous relationship. Ryan recalls strapping her 3-week-old baby girl to her chest and taking to the stage in Suffolk. The gig boosted the comedian's confidence and enabled her to quit her office job and pursue a comedy career full-time. In her own experience, she is sure that there is a certain sense of judgment around single motherhood, even within show business, where she is constantly being asked, "Who's watching your daughter?" By the way, if you were attentive while watching The Duchess, you remember this line from one of the episodes, when Ryan's character is asked exactly the same question. The comedian wonders why, when people talk about single dads, the whole thing becomes sexy all of a sudden, but if you're a single mom, there's still a stigma.
Ew, gross, another single mom. She should have worked harder to keep her family together.
She lived together with her daughter, just the two of them, for a long time, until recently, when Ryan had a chance encounter with her teenage love, Bobby Kutstra. They used to date when they were 15, she joked in one of her interviews. His name is Bobby, and we were together when I was 15 or 16, and then we got back 20 years later. Isn't that pathetic? In December 2019, she entered a civil partnership with Bobby in a low-key ceremony in Denmark. Ryan's daughter was initially against the whole idea of someone new entering the family after so long, but luckily things worked out for everyone. After she started dating Bobby, Ryan felt conflicted about the whole story, minding her ongoing projects and what she promoted through them.
Well, yeah, I had really designed my life. My daughter and I have a shape of a family that's controversial, and I don't want to abandon those women. I really do think that I like being by myself.
In one of her specials, she said she was not going to have a boyfriend until she is in her 60s. Thus, she felt as if she was abandoning people somehow. I've spent all this time talking to women who feel there is this culture that's like, she has all these cats and she says she doesn't want a boyfriend, but she's lying, she's incomplete. I hate that, because I felt very happy and very complete. Another point that deserves an honorable mention to prove that Catherine is a true feminist is her attitude towards cosmetic procedures. The stunning blonde is open about her experiments, including Botox and fillers. However, she is concerned about young people who might be choosing unreliable places for such procedures. Some people will pierce holes, some people will have implants. It's no one's business what you do to your body. But I do worry about a generation of younger people going to dodgy places and not having the correct information. Despite being a powerful woman, Ryan still sometimes feels the pressure of society. Earlier this year, she had a miscarriage following 10 weeks of pregnancy, which according to the actress, made her feel embarrassed and shameful. Ryan is sure women deserve to have more information about this harrowing experience and to stop keeping it a secret. Despite being devastated over losing a baby, Ryan carried on working, putting a smile on her face so that no one could see her pain. You think you did something wrong, but you keep it to yourself. By the way, again like her character on The Duchess, Catherine considered a sperm donor before she reunited with her high school love. Being a strong, independent woman, she was totally ready for another child. Who said you need a man to have a kid after all? But you know, as they always say, you'll find love when you're not looking for it. Looks like that is exactly what happened with Ryan. By the way, a huge chunk of Ryan's comedy is actually dedicated to mocking men. One of her punchlines from her special goes as follows: "Men are like dolphins, best enjoyed on holiday." Before we finish, a fun fact about The Duchess. Although Ryan was the one who wrote a sex scene for the show, she realized that writing it was so much different than actually filming it. She was standing behind the door and counting how much money she will lose after running away. The amount turned out to be huge, so she went into the room and did the scene. And I thought before I did it, oh, acting's fine, you just pretend. And I was wrong. It's actually really hard and it can be a little bit embarrassing.
I will never shoot another sex scene again.
That's all for today. As always, we are eager to see your opinion in the comment section below. And do tell us which topic we should cover next. Behind the scenes dramas of your favorite shows? Why did this seemingly perfect couple break up? How come this Hollywood hottie is still alone? Who holds the title of the most fan-friendly celebrity? Make your voice heard, and we at Rumor Juice will make sure you are never bored. Subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to tell your friends how cool we are.